I poured myself the biggest vodka martini that you've ever seen. I made a pitcher, and I just honestly looked at this glass, this pitcher, and I talked to it. I was like, "Oh my God, hello, lover. I've missed you." And something inside of me goes, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it."
Welcome to the show, Laurie.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
What's your sober date?
It is February 16th, 2010.
Oh, wow. So you got over a decade under your belt now.
I do. It was I actually haven't gotten so excited about my recovery, if you will, until like the pandemic. Is that crazy? Is that crazy?
Kind of.
I don't Yeah, I mean, I'm sober. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to meetings. I'm, taking it one day at a time, and I'm just going about my business, and nothing exciting, nothing, whatever. So I'm sober, and I don't say it out loud. People that know me know that I'm sober, and that's that. But I got to 10 years sober, and I was excited, hey, 10 years, woohoo. um, but I couldn't go to meetings anymore. I couldn't go to meetings anymore because of what happened. And so
You hit your 10
I
year
start,
during lockdowns, right?
yeah, yeah. So it's like, all right. So I didn't go to get my coin. I bought my own. I went and bought my own coin. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? That's okay. I've got 10 years, so I don't have to do meetings anymore. I'm sober and I know what to do. So I'm just going to not go to meetings. And, I've got some friends, of course, that have, multiple years. I'll call them if I need anything, but I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I was going out of my mind. I was
There it
going
is.
out of
Yeah.
my mind. I was missing the connections. I was missing seeing people on a daily basis. I started getting more road rage than normal. I was not pleasant to be around, and I honestly needed to be around people. So somebody said to me, "Have you checked out the community, the recovery community?" On Instagram. I go, Instagram? Are you kidding me? No. I'm good. I don't want to see people baking cakes and like I had no idea. I had no idea. So I go on to Instagram and I start following people that are in recovery, and I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. I have never in my sobriety had so much excitement and passion before
Yep.
seeing the recovery community on Instagram. I shit you not. I thought that, whatever. Like I said, I'll just stay sober. I won't drink. And I have found meetings on there. I have found some girls that I talk to on a daily basis that live all over the country. I start recovering out loud. What? I can do that?
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah,
And it's crazy
just
because
like
I had
that.
no idea it was there either. Until
Yeah.
like I started my podcast, and then I started like searching for other people to like interview like yourself, you know what I mean? I didn't realize like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook how big the recovery community, and it might have gotten bigger during COVID. You know what I mean? It might not have been that
Yeah.
big 2 years ago. Who
I don't
knows?
know. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
either
know.
because I just found it in the last 6 months, and my sober date is a year and a half ago. And I've been clean from opiates for 3.5 years when I started recovery. And I still wasn't finding, I was old school like you, right? Going to
Yeah.
hitting the meetings. I did 250 and 90 to make sure that I stayed sober,
Yeah.
like I'm not even exaggerating. It was around 250 in my first 90 that I did 250 meetings.
Wow.
LA,
Wow.
there's so many meetings that it was possible to do something like that. I was going to 4 or 5 a day sometimes, 7 a.m. nooners, 6 p.m.s, 8
Yeah.
p.m.s, 11 p.m.s, and I loved it.
Whatever.
I was
Yeah.
inundated
And
myself.
it kept you accountable, and it was, and
It
that's
was
what
that
I was
connection.
like, all right. Yeah.
It was like the connection that you mentioned that you find on Instagram, but in LA, I could literally meeting hop and get connection from one to another. I could go from AA to NA to CA,
Yeah.
all right down the street from each other and hit them all on the line and get a whole lot of recovery.
My brother's from LA, so I know the LA scene in recovery.
It's
I've been to a
amazing.
lot of meetings. They're amazing. It's amazing out there.
I love them. I miss
Amazing.
them. I miss them so much. I'm in the woods in the mountains in PA now. The total opposite of LA. I
All right.
am in it. We are in a college town, so meth runs rampant where we are. I started up an NA group at our place, and we have an AA group at our place that meets like every morning 9 a.m. and NA meets at night. But we're just new and we're just starting to build a community around there of accepting with AA and NA both fellowships, just to give people a place to go for that support. But guess what? There's
Yeah.
sometimes where no one's there. There's no meeting, and so this
Mhm.
is my meeting. Sitting
Yeah.
down and talking with people. Literally, I've had women from Scotland, the UK, Australia,
Yeah.
all on the show. Canada's coming up soon, like I'm surprised I haven't gotten Canada sooner. But I have so many
I'm
friends
going
up
to
there.
Canada pretty soon. I'm going to Canada in about 40 minutes. I
Really?
love Canada. We love
I
Canada. Woo.
So do I. Where are you from then?
I'm from Connecticut. You're talking to me in Connecticut.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing an interview with a couple from Canada in a little while. And I, like you, when I started, you know, my brother calls me and says, why didn't you do a podcast? Why are you doing YouTube? I go, because I'm old and I don't know, I don't know any of these things. But I started doing my YouTube channel, and it was just my friends in Connecticut, my little group. And we started chatting, and I started getting people commenting and asking me if they could come on the show. And I'm like, okay, I don't know you, but all right. This is how, like, my little group, I didn't go out of my little group. So it was just so bizarre to me. And the thing that I love the most, I am such a creature of habit that once I start doing something, I don't want to stop doing it because then it's going to screw something up, right?
We're addicts, Laurie.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
yeah,
We're still
yeah,
addicts. We're just our
yeah.
drug now
So
is
I'm
different.
like, so if somebody tells me they're not going to meetings, I'm like, wait, what? What are you going to meetings? What do you do? My mind has been blown. My mind has been opened that the last year and a half of my sobriety, I have learned more from people that don't go to meetings. I still choose to go to them because I love them.
Me too.
It's my sanctuary. I love my AA peeps. Um, but I am learning. Who knew at 58 years old that I could learn something new?
Yeah,
But
because and there has to be different ways because you know
it
what? Like
has to be,
your
there
addiction was
has
different than my addiction, and
yeah,
any of the old timers' addictions are way different than any of us coming in as
yes,
newcomers because the drugs
yes,
are different.
yes,
Fentanyl wasn't around in the 80s when you got sober, man. It was 30 some years. So, the
yeah,
drugs are different. The ways we communicate with our drug dealers and the relationships that we build with them are more dangerous now with social media and with cell phones. Like you're even a little bit past the cusp of like having to like
I
always
had
text.
a beeper. JD, I
Exact,
had a beeper.
exactly my point. That's exactly my
I had
point.
a beeper for my dealer.
Yeah. So what was your drug of
Oh,
choice,
thank
Laurie?
God. The,
What was your
I alcohol took me out, but I loved my cocaine. I loved my cocaine. I actually, when
Yeah,
I talk to other
you were in your 20s in the 80s, if my math is right,
I was in my
and
20s and 30s, yes. And
when
so,
coke was flying through everywhere. Especially
yes,
even New are you from Connecticut? Cuz like
I am.
New England
Yes.
was flowing with coke in the 80s because of Georgie
Yes.
coming from, Pablo down there and flying up to
Yeah.
Massachusetts
It
all the
was
time
it
with
was
his
great.
flow.
It was
Yeah.
awesome. And see, I'm very I come from a very Italian family, and so, my parents didn't drink. My grandparents didn't drink, so I wasn't a drinker. And so I am 21 years old. I'm married. I have my first child. Very, very Italian. I don't go anywhere. I don't do the things that girls were doing at that time, going to discos. I'm really dating myself. I am really dating myself. But I didn't go out. I didn't do all of that. I stayed home like a good Italian girl, good Italian Catholic girl. And I didn't do all of that. I'd have a drink every once in a while, of course, but I didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody introduces me to cocaine, and I'm like, what is this? This little thing. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't get it. Whatever. I go into the bathroom. I see a little spot on my tile wall, and I start cleaning it, and I start cleaning the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I'm not depressed. I
And
could talk.
yep.
I just went, it was, it
And
was
for those
wild.
that don't know, coke was acceptable in the 80s. Like it was like allowed. Like there was no stigma. Like if you were to like be like, "Oh,
No,
I just did some coke last night" to your boss, they'd be like, "Oh, me too." Like, cocaine
yeah,
was
yeah,
not stigmatized until like
no,
early 90s, late
yeah,
80s, but
yeah,
the first 10 years that coke started coming from Colombia, like and not the first 10 years, but there was like a decade long rush in the late 70s to mid late 80s where there was more coke flowing through the United States than ever before, and it
yeah.
was
It
all
was,
from
I
Colombia.
could get it at any time.
Yep.
I would beep
And
them, and I would be like, hey, yeah, could you get me some more? And it was like,
it was
oh,
just
I
as
live for it.
acceptable. It was just as acceptable to be like, I'm going to the Packy to pick up, or I'm going to my guy to pick up some coke.
Yeah, yeah.
Packies in New England are package stores.
It went hand in hand. And oof, I was, it took my life away. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to do anything else but that. I just could not stop doing coke. And of course, that's when I found I was 33 years old. I had asked my husband for a divorce, and that was the first time I walked into a bar. I
Really?
Oh yeah, I went absolutely insane because I never did all those things as a teenager or a girl in my 20s. So I am 33, 34 years old, and I am going absolutely nuts. Guys, drinks, coke, I mean, you name it. I was a wild dog out of cage because woohoo, I'm doing this. Nobody's going to tell me I can't.
You
And
had to have loved it if you went for 12 years doing it, because from my math, it tells me
uh,
you went for over a decade just at the
yeah,
bars then.
it was great. It was awesome. But I had two children. I had two children. Oh my God. And they were little. But I really I said this was for me. I was going to do this for me because I never had a childhood. Me. So I'm going to relive it, right? And it got crazy. It got crazy. So I meet another gentleman that I fell in love with like instantly, of course. And he did not like the cocaine part of me. Listen, you could do whatever you want, but I was with somebody that did cocaine and it's not a good thing. So if you want to do it, fine,
Mhm.
but I can't be with you if you continue to do it. And I'm like, oh, I'll stop. I could do this. And I did. I stopped doing the cocaine. Well, guess what? Guess what takes over in spades? The
Alcohol.
alcohol. Whoa. The
Yeah,
alcohol.
because that
Because it
is
was
acceptable.
legal.
Yep.
Yes.
And the stigma by then, because if this was 10 years, if you found Coke at 21, but really you didn't start going out drinking until 33. So we're into the 90s now where Coke is bad. People have seen overdoses. People have seen what happens with long-term cocaine use. And now they're saying,
Mhm.
don't do it. It's not cool anymore. But you know what's still
Yeah.
cool and still cool to 2021? Get fucking drunk, fall out
Get
drunk,
drunk. Let's get
blackout
drunk.
drunk, and it's a rite of
Blackout.
passage.
I was a
Yep.
blackout.
Oh, I
I was
blacked
a
out last night, and then
blackout.
you high five over it. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I had a girlfriend who bought me for Christmas a towel. It was a towel for the beach, and it was a chalk outline of a body. Because that's what I would do. I would just pass out on her back porch, or I would pass out. Well, we all laughed about it. Oh my God. Ah. I was fucking mortified. I was like, oh my God, that's who I am. That's who I am. I can't stop. I just, once I start, I can't stop. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? When I was doing coke, I was fine. But I didn't want to go, but I didn't want to go back to the coke either. I didn't. It was too expensive. I'm a tightwad. I, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? But I had this great job. My kids are, older now. I've got this beautiful home. I'm driving around in a Lexus. I mean, I am doing all these things and I'm passing out every night.
Were you like
Every
were you like the mom drinker, like where like it's 5 p.m. I can get drunk now, or were you drinking during the day as well?
I was not drinking during the day until maybe like the last 6 months of my drinking. So I had a really high powered job that I needed to do. So and I did it. I don't know how, but I did it. And I decided that something had to give. And I finally admitted to my ex-husband, I think I've got a problem. He goes, you think? And he said to me, you know what your problem is? Your problem is you can't stop after one. Why can't you just have one? You have no willpower. And I'm like, my God, you're right. I'm a smart girl. I, I'm I'm running a multi-million dollar company. I'm not stupid. Like, you're right. You're right. I don't know why I just don't stop after one. And so I tried that. Oh, yeah, right. It doesn't last very long. It doesn't last very long. So I decided to give it up altogether. And I did it for like 6 weeks. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I was on a diet and I was going to this women's health fitness thing,
Way too
right? So,
much. Way too
oh, yeah.
much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's
But I figured
implosion
I'm
city.
all in. I'm an all or nothing girl, so I'm gonna go all in.
This is why we
If
need
this,
sponsors, Laurie. This is why we need
well,
sponsors.
I didn't
Because
even know about AA at this point. I had
I
no idea. I
you
was just
know
doing it on my own.
I tried doing it too, though. When I first went to rehab, my only time I went to rehab, and I got a sponsor, and I was on a diet, and I took Chantix. I was going to quit smoking, and
Yeah,
and I said to my sponsor all these things and joy and looking forward. He goes, "You got to pick one." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "You have to pick one, man. This is way too
yeah,
much. You're going to shock your system, and
yeah,
you're gonna go right back into using drugs again. So pick
yeah.
one."
Well, I wish somebody had
Don't
told
pick
me that
drugs or
because I,
alcohol. So I picked smoking because I
yeah,
needed cigarettes still. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll keep smoking cigarettes, and I changed from menthol to regular. as like a way, you know, and
Yeah,
plus
you were
because
doing some like a regular cigarette to like a light, you know?
honestly though, it was because of meetings. You know, I'm that guy that was always giving out cigarettes at meetings outside. And then I noticed that whenever somebody had regular cigarettes and not menthol, nobody wanted them. So I switched back to Marlboro 27s, which I hadn't smoked since high school. And it was the anniversary of my best friend's death. Actually, my studio is named after him, John Johnson Memorial Studio. It was the anniversary of his death, and me and him started smoking 27s together when they came out when we were in high school. That's when they were first came out, like 2003.
Okay.
And so I bought them for John that day. I was like, oh, I'll get 27s then because they're regulars and nobody will buy them. And then I still smoke them to this day, 3.5 years later. So, you know, and my diet
No, I know.
eventually went away, but still, it is way too much early
I know.
on.
Well, I didn't know, but well, I'm now alcoholic and an addict, so I'm all or nothing. I'm all or
Yeah.
nothing. You know, I just, so I'm going to do it all. And I go out to California. No, I don't go out to California. I meet my brother and his friend from California, but we meet in Vegas. And
That's where
I'm
you want to
gonna
be when you're
go. Yeah. So now they're both sober. And
okay.
so I'm not gonna drink in front of them, right? So we go to the show, and I'm with Frankie, and we go to the show, and he's a hairdresser for the person who was doing the show, and I won't
Mhm.
mention the name, but we get invited to an after party. Dude, I am like, that's the band Good Charlotte. Like I am like I'm surrounded by celebrities. And who's drinking, who's doing drugs, who's smoking marijuana. Like it was just a free for all, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm a good girl. I'm not doing anything. I'm a good girl. I'm not doing anything. See, I'm not bad. I can control it. I have willpower. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't do any drugs. I remember the whole night. It was like awesome. I got to meet some really cool people. And I fly back to Connecticut and I am like, all right, I got this under control. If I can be around all of that and not do anything, all I gotta do is just just a little bit, and I'll be okay. Oh my
This
God.
episode is sponsored by MJ's Progress Not Perfection Meeting Center Association. We are in our meeting center where we do all these meetings for mental health and addiction. I can do this podcast anywhere. I can do this at home. I can do this in a closet. I can do this in a basement. It doesn't matter. All I need is somebody else to talk to about addiction and recovery. What I can't do from anywhere is help people with their addiction and their mental health problems. So if you can help out, you know, we do have a Venmo, we have a Cash App, we have a PayPal, we have an address you can send a check to, and, you know, all the money that gets donated goes towards rent, goes towards keeping the lights on, and goes towards keeping the internet on. So please, you know, if you can give $5, $10, $20, it doesn't matter. Anything you can is so appreciated. And if you are a local business, if you're a national business, whatever, and you want to be a part of what we're doing, you know, you can reach out to me and we can talk about how you can be a sponsor. But I'll let you get back to the
Oh my
episode.
God. I poured myself the biggest vodka martini that you've ever seen. I made a pitcher, and I just honestly looked at this glass, this pitcher, and I talked to it. I was like, oh my God, hello, lover. I've missed you. And something inside of me goes, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But I did it. I did it. I did it. I only remember drinking one, but the whole pitcher was gone. I
Yep.
blacked out, totally blacked out.
It
And I'm like,
reminds me like
fuck,
that that
what the fuck?
that happens, you know, that's like that you know, I remember when I relapsed with drinking after 13 months. And you know, I was inundated, indoctrinated with AA after 13 months when I went out. And I went out on a resentment, right? So like I was resenting
I'll
the
show
old
them.
group. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, yeah, I'll show them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, now I've worked through that, you know, but still, I went out on a resentment and I drank over it. But I poured the first two out. I bought a 6-pack of
Okay.
Twisted Tea and I poured the first 2 out just to prove to the old group, like they were watching me, that I didn't need to drink all 6, that I'm not an alcoholic because I don't need to drink all 6. No, JD, you poured them out first. If you would have poured them out last, it's different, but you can't just pour them out before you drink to prove that. But it was just so dumb. And yeah, I drank, and it the movie, what's it, with Chris Rock, New Jack City, when Chris Rock is a crackhead and he gets clean and now he's trying to like do all this stuff, but when he relapses, he's staring at that crack pipe and crying, staring at that crack pipe about the choice that he knows he's inevitably going to take and the path it's inevitably going to take him down. As much as he doesn't want to go down it, it's like he has to go down it.
Yeah.
Just to find out, because
Apparently
like,
I had to.
we have to find out for ourselves that this is not
You are
going to
so
work.
right. I know, you're so right. I know. And I still remember that voice inside of me going, don't. And I did. It took me, after that, it took me a year and a half of trying different things. I had gone to Italy on a trip and I found, this wine that had no sulfites in it, so it didn't give me a hangover. So I was ordering like, cases of it. Like, this is what I'll just stick to wine.
I was gonna say, there's no way you went to Italy and didn't drink.
Oh no, I did in this year and a half. But I thought I found a solution again. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just drink this.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
No, I mean, no. Now I'm sure you can. Have you been back to Italy in sobriety in the last?
No, I haven't. Not sober. I'm dying to go
Ah.
back to Italy sober. I am so dying to go back because I do remember bits and pieces. I've been twice, but both times I was drinking very heavily.
Yeah.
But I'm dying to go back.
No,
It's
it
a beautiful
happens.
country.
I mean, for what
I
it's
know.
worth, it
I
makes you
know.
feel any. I skipped out on a free trip to England and Scotland. That was for 12 days with my family because I knew I wouldn't be able to make it without withdrawing. So I had to turn down that free trip because there was no way I was going to go 12 days without perks.
Without something. Yeah,
without pills.
something, right?
Without pills. Like alcohol,
Good
yeah, I could
Lord.
have drank over there fine in Scotland. But pills, I can't sneak them on a plane. There's no way I can bring 12 days worth with me because guess what? They're going to be gone by day 2 because I know myself. Whenever I'm trying to travel with pills.
So crazy. Making plans around drinking or drugging. I wake up in the morning and say, oh, it's, Taco Tuesday. So let's do, tequila something around it. And I never ate. I was just, oh God.
By the way, I
had 3 different.
I love the wrist and the heart. The
semicolon inside
the heart.
Yeah, the semicolon.
Yeah, I noticed.
I got the semicolon. Oh, I love that. I got the semicolon with me and my 2 kids, my son and my daughter. We 3 of us got them on our wrist. And the girl that started this movement, unfortunately, I don't remember her name. She died. She killed herself. And I was like, oh my God. And so I went back and I put the heart around it in her honor. And I don't know why I don't remember her name, but I was following her for a while and it was, yeah. Our story is not over. Our story is
That's
not
what that
over.
is. Yep, I got one right here, and I got it on my wrist too, and it's always right there. I got it when I was 3 months sober. I got it. I think I was like awesome. 2 or 3 months sober when I got it. So it was a few years ago.
I got this one when I was a few months sober, and it's To Thine Own Self Be True, and it's my anniversary, 2/16/10, and the tattoo artist wanted to put it the other way. He goes, it's supposed to be so people could see it. I go, dude, nope. No, you don't.
I don't care about that. Most of mine are upside down to everybody.
I need to, while I'm picking up a drink, I need to right in my face.
I got Progress Not Perfection right here, and it's upside down. I got Carpe Diem, it's upside down. Most of my tattoos,
I need to see it.
I need to see it. I don't give a fuck if you can read it. I'm paying money.
Yeah, this is for me. Yeah,
it's not for me. It's for me. Like,
that was a huge one for me, to be true to myself and not to worry about anybody else. And The progress, not perfection is great. I love that it says
That
that
was
on
day
your
2
screen.
after rehab. Yeah, that was my set. I was walking along the Venice Boardwalk, and my roommate and I, we saw a tattoo shop, and he was like, "Let's go check it out."
Yeah.
And the guy did it for $100 for me right there on the spot. So I sat down. I went to rehab with
Yeah.
one tattoo, and I came home with 17. 4 months. Four
I've
months
got,
later, you know,
I've got many. I've got many.
and
They're all,
they're not
yeah,
all recovery based. I have the obligatory one day at a time inside of a calendar. The days are written out. I have hope on my arm, in Scottish, Gaelic. I have a few that are. I definitely have like 5 or 6 that remind me of sobriety. But the rest are like TV references and movie and song
all right.
references.
I got obsessed with it. I've got tons of them on my back.
Yeah, it
I got
happens.
obsessed. But I love progress, not perfection, because I'm also a recovering perfectionist. Everything that I ever did had to be perfect, or I did not want to do it. Um, I'm the oldest family member. I'm the oldest, granddaughter. I'm the oldest niece. I'm the oldest everything on both sides of the family. So I took this little thing upon myself to be the perfect person. My house had to be perfect. My everything, everything, everything. And I just had to throw that all out the window. And when you asked me this morning, hey, you want to sneak one in? And I'm like, you know what? Normally I would be like, oh my God, no, I can't. I gotta, it's gotta be planned, let's do it. Let's just do it. Give me 5 minutes and let's just do it.
I remember when I told he's not my sponsor, he wasn't my sponsor. He was like more of a mentor, old timer. I was at every meeting with him and we would always talk before and after meetings. And when I got my tattoo, he said, "Do you know what perfection even means?" And he blew me away because I couldn't define perfection. And I
It's
couldn't define perfect.
it's our
We all have
perspective of
these
perfection.
thoughts. Exactly. Yeah, it's having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it possibly to be. So as
In
good
our
as
eyes.
in our eyes. So we could never be perfect, but we could be perfect to somebody. My wife can call me perfect all day long, and I'll tell her she's fucking crazy. But really, it's in her eyes, I am to her. And that's the thing is, we
Yes.
get so caught up in what's in our head that we forget.
Yes.
But progress, not perfection, for me is I love chapter 5. I love how it works. I love that entire reading. I love that we strive for spiritual progress rather than spirit. You know what I mean? Like I love that
Yes.
entire
Love
reading.
that.
So it was just stuck in my head for that 29 days in inpatient. So when I got out of inpatient, got into sober living, that was the first thing I got. But anyway, so now you're drinking at the bars all the time in your 30s into your 40s. Any
Yeah.
DUIs popping up? Anything that's going to make you try to
No,
stop?
it's funny too, because I got pulled over twice and the cop let me go both times, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman. I don't know, because I was like,
Were you close to
so
home?
I apologize. I said, I know I was going a little bit too fast. I should know better. I'll take it easy. And I got one of the times that I got pulled over, I did get a ticket for speeding, but it was a $90 ticket, and I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
And so I stopped. I stopped out, and I just started staying home. And I had in one of my rooms in my house, I had turned into a bar. This thing was ridiculous. It was
But
a bar.
by then, in your 40s now, you have a 20-year-old who is basically probably out of the house or not.
Oh
Nothing
yeah,
that
they're all out of the house. It's
you
just
don't need
me
to
and my
be.
husband.
Yeah, you don't need to be responsible for anybody. As opposed to
Nope.
like when it comes to like when they're younger, you're like, oh shit, I got to make sure I can drive to the hospital just in case something
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
But
Well,
uh,
or I bring them to my mom's, because I know my
yeah,
mom was, my my mom would be able to take care of it.
yep.
But yeah, no, I'm staying home. The last 6 months of my drinking, I'm staying home. I had this bar. It had a dartboard. It had a karaoke machine. It had pub tables in it. It was ridiculous. The people, I go to 3 different, what do you call it? Okay,
Meetings.
liquor stores.
Okay.
3 different liquor stores so that they didn't know how bad I was. And
Oh,
every time I go, oh yeah, every time I go, they'd always ask, "Where's the party?" And it was like, it was for me. My kids had bought me um, this beautiful table, and it had all the holes in it for, different kinds of wines. And it had 16 different slots for wines, but I had it filled with 16 different flavored vodkas. Vodka was my thing. And if I ran out of one, oh my God, God help us. I had to go and get, my strawberry vodka or, my grapefruit and vodka. Oh my God. I had been to restaurants and had, the martini lists. And so I had every single thing to go to make these martinis, every single thing. It was crazy. And I remembered one night getting up in the middle of the night, and I needed a drink. And my husband said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to the bathroom." He goes, "There's a bathroom right here." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't want to bother you." So I was going to go downstairs. And I'm doing shots, like one after the other, Southern Comfort. And my heart's beating because my adrenaline is pumping because I don't want him to come downstairs. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to go to sleep." And I slipped back into bed and obviously passed out. And when I woke up, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. And I said to my husband, "What's wrong?" He goes, "You don't know?" I'm like, "If I knew, I wouldn't be asking you." I had bruises on my leg. Apparently, I fell. I was just a mess. I was saying really nasty things to him in this blackout. I I I I needed help. I needed help. And it was around Christmas time. It was around Christmas time in 2009. And I said, we were going to go to some marriage counseling. Maybe that would help. And so
because
I
it's not
set
the
up this marriage.
drinking.
No, good God, no. So I set up this meeting to go on January 8th of 2010 to a marriage counselor. And I'm going about my day and I'm thinking about going to this meeting. And my son, who's 23 at the time, comes into my office and he's all depressed and he's like, and I'm like, "Nicholas, what's wrong?" And I'm on the phone and he's got tears in his eyes and he's just like standing there. And I'm like, I knew that he smoked pot and I never questioned him on it. Like, so what? It's pot. It's only pot, Oh, anyways, I put the phone down and I said to him, "Honey, you're getting way, way, way too depressed. I think it's the pot. I think you should stop smoking pot." First time I've ever said to him to stop something, because I didn't want to say to stop something because I'd be a hypocrite. And he was like, "Mom, it's not pot." And I go, "Well, what's wrong? Maybe you need to go see somebody. I've got my own, like I'm saying in my head, I got my own problems. I got to go, save my marriage, like what's going on?" And he just starts crying. And I'm like, "Nicholas, what? Spit it out." "Mom, I'm addicted to heroin and I can't get off." What? Son of a bitch. No. You see how upset I'm getting because I feel like it would just happen yesterday, because those words, heroin? No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, New England in the mid to late 2000s.
This was 2010. And so this kid has got, polo shirts on and his little backpack. And I'm like, this is not what, no. And I said to him, "Go home." I sent him home to the place where he's doing heroin. Like, where was my thought process? Because first of all, I need to go save my marriage. He's on heroin, and now I've got to get him some help. So I'm going to put me on hold, for a little while. So we go to the marriage counseling thing. And of course, I'm just talking about my kid. And the counselor gave me some recommendations, and my husband says something like that I was an alcoholic. So my head flips around like Linda Blair, like, what the fuck are you talking about? What? I can only handle one thing at a time, people. Like, and at that moment, it was my son. At that moment, it was my son. So I went home. I used all of the resources that he gave me, and I was online, and something popped up on the computer. Can I help you? As I'm drinking my Southern Comfort and Diet Coke, can I help you? And I'm like, yes, I need you to fix my son. Like, can you do that? And so I get him into rehab, like 2:00 in the morning. He's going to go to detox for a few days in New Haven, Connecticut, and then they're going to pick him up and bring him to the mountains of Connecticut, and they're going to take care of him. They're going to fix him and send him back to me. Thank you. My job is done. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. There's a reason the book says cunning, baffling.
Yeah. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. He didn't even make a week in rehab. And so he came home, and I don't know what to do with him, and he's flipping out, and I'm flipping out, and I'm, drinking to not flip out.
Yep.
And
to medicate.
we get,
The call like it is. You were drinking to medicate.
Yeah. I get him into another program that's going to do phases instead of a 30-day program. So he learned to live, blah, blah, blah. And so he goes down there, and it helped him tremendously. What it also did was on February 14th, 2010, I got invited to a meeting. I brought my mother, I brought his father. We're going to learn how to, say no to him, stop enabling him, blah, 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 blah. And they're talking and they're talking and they're talking. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, they're talking about me. This is me.
Were you in Al-Anon?
No, it was just a meeting of the powers that be at this rehab facility. Okay. And I've never had that kind of counseling before, in talking about the addict and what he does and what he thinks and what he feels. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a reason that third word is powerful. That third word being cunning, baffling, powerful is because of how powerful it is.
I got hit on the side of the head. Woof. There was nothing I was going to be able to do for this child unless I was good myself. And so I went home on February 14th, Valentine's Day. I went home. I drank myself crazy for 2 days because I knew it was my last hurrah. And I called my brother because he was in the program of AA. And I said, what do I do? He said, walk into a meeting. And I was at one meeting for his 1-year anniversary, 2 years prior. So it was 150 people in an LA meeting. So that's what I thought it was going to be.
It's not.
In Thomaston, Connecticut, I walk in and there's seven people.
Plenty of ways to share there for you because those LA meetings, it is like, completely night and day when you come back to the sticks. And because people don't realize, like, a small meet in LA is 40, 50 people. That's a small meeting in LA, but I do like smaller rooms sometimes, but I do like the bigger rooms when it's a speaker meeting. When it's a featured speaker, then I like the bigger room. But if it's like a room with a lot of crosstalk and sharing and that kind of thing, like I want a small group where I love crosstalk. A lot of people don't like crosstalk. I think when it's done right, it can be extremely beneficial, and it also makes it not as boring.
Yes. But my first meeting, I was expecting just to like sit up against the wall and just listen. So they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, this is anonymous. I don't have to tell you, and
already combative, Laurie.
Yeah. Like, and how long have you been sober? And I'm like, what time is it? And my hands are all sweaty and clammy and it's a bunch of bikers. So I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into? I'm like, oh my God. And two gentlemen came up to me later and just said, just keep coming, and because I kept saying, I don't know if I'm coming or going. I can't even think straight. And they're like, if you keep coming, you'll get to where you're going. And that always stuck with me. That was my first meeting. That has stuck with me for almost 12 years. I was like, wow. And so I did. I didn't know why I was going. But I went to one meeting a week, Wednesday night meeting. And I felt good when I got there. I white knuckled it all week long, and I got there and I was like, okay, I was feeling safe. And I felt like I was this little chihuahua, little long haired chihuahua with all these like pit bulls, you know what I mean? But they made me feel safe. Like, and they were all talking about their addictions, and I'm like, all right, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And, a couple of times it would be like, you should get a sponsor. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm not drinking, so I'm good. Very, very willful, very willful. And, I was concentrating more on, Nicholas, and I wanted to stay sober for him. But I had the reservations. Like, if something happened to him, then I had a way out. You're not going to tell me if something happens to my child. I'm not promising anything, if I lose my job, if my husband asks me for a divorce, because by this time he's had enough of me,
Yeah.
all these things, all these reservations. So I was not going to be accountable. It was going to be something that was going to put me out, and it was going to be my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what, my friend? My first year in sobriety, my husband asked me for a divorce. I lost my career. I lost my house. I had to turn in my beloved Lexus. My son relapsed, and I stayed sober. What?
Did you start going to more meetings than once a week? Did you find a sponsor? Did you find a higher power? Did you start working the steps?
I did.
It's almost as
I
if
did.
I know
you little
answer.
shits that I hated so much. Like, you don't know me. The promises started coming true, and mother of sweet baby Jesus, all this shit. I got arrested as well for something that I did in active addiction. So everything came full circle. Excuse me. But I did not have to drink, not once. And the crazy part is I didn't even think about it, because I knew in my head, I was like, I don't have time for it. I got so much going on right now. I don't have time for this shit.
I think if once you get to like 12, 18 months, and I think as long as you're not mourning the old drinking self, you're not thinking, you know what I mean by that? Like, we were in here, the other day. My wife paints all the time, and that's like her thing. She has a whole studio for painting in our place right next to my room. And I remember it was night before Thanksgiving, and we're literally right next to a bar. And I'm outside smoking a cigarette and of our meeting center for AA and NA, and I'm outside smoking, and I went back inside and I said to her, like, man, it is crazy out there. There's so many people already. She was like, for what? I was like, it's Thanksgiving Eve. It's the biggest drinking night of the year. She's like, oh my God, I forgot all about it. Because you get, as long as you're not actively mourning the old drinks.
And that was the thing. And the other thing was too, is that I was so serious. Like, this is so serious. I lost a friend, 5 months sober. Her husband died of alcoholism, like 38 years old. And that hit me hard. Like, oh my God, this is some serious shit. Like, I never even, I couldn't even think, I never thought about it, because who wants to look at this, right? But I was taking it very seriously. So anybody that was laughing in the meetings, like, I was like, what are you fucking laughing at? Like, this is serious. It was 18 months. I was 18 months sober. I'm with this group. We're at a one of the it was a bikers roadhouse something or other, and it was for a fundraiser, and we're all sitting there, and there's 13 of us, and I started laughing at something, and I mean belly laughing. belly laughing.
Yeah.
And I caught myself and I looked up and I'm like, shit, am I supposed to be laughing? Like, and everybody's got a can of Coca-Cola in front of them and they're all laughing. And I'm like, what is my problem? Like, loosen up, girlfriend. This is your life. You know what I mean? And it's not bad. You know, I thought it was going to be boring. You know, I'm going to these sober dances and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah. And the laughing
I
is
hate
good.
this. This is my life.
Whenever
Now I
someone's
wanna
laughing
do
at
that.
you, whenever someone's laughing at you in a meeting, it's because they're resonating with you. They
Yeah,
relate to
yeah,
what you're saying, and they're only
yeah,
laughing because it's happened to
yeah,
them, and they
yeah,
know. And that belly
absolutely.
laugh, I've talked about that on
Oh,
another episode before. Like, I did stand-up comedy, you know what I mean, in addiction. So like I was laughing in addiction, but I was laughing with my head. Whereas I
yeah.
heard you tell a joke and I could process it, know it's funny, and then tell myself to laugh at it to give them the benefit. But I wasn't laughing with my stomach, a true belly laugh, until I got sober. And it was like, a couple weeks in, I was at rehab and I was laughing at some shit and I'm dying. I'm like, my stomach hasn't hurt from
Yeah.
laughing since I was a kid.
I
And
know.
it
I
was
love it. I love it. I can laugh at everything now. I can laugh at myself. I
cry
could,
at
you
everything
know, that.
too. Cry at everything too.
Yes, yes. I was
That's the
crying
secret.
yesterday over some damn show, and I'm like, oh.
Oh my God, the shows get and
But I
I've
love
seen it.
it. I love it. And I don't know. I get so much more out of my life
Can I
in
ask how your son's
recovery.
doing?
He is not a heroin addict anymore. Thank
That's
God.
good.
He's been
Yeah.
clean from heroin for 7 years. He just moved back to Connecticut. I love having a relationship with him. He doesn't do meetings, and of course, at first I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But again,
Again, it's
I've
everybody has
learned
their own.
everybody has their own thing. He goes, Mom, I just don't get anything out of him anymore. But he's so much into his martial arts. He's there six
That's his
days a week.
meeting. That's his
That's his
meeting.
meetings.
That's his
Yeah.
meeting. That's his
And
support group. That's the
I
people that got his back,
love it.
literally. Yeah, that's you don't
Yeah.
need to go to AA's great, and you don't even
No,
need to be an alcoholic to work the steps. Anybody can get a benefit from
no.
working the steps,
Anybody can get
whether you're
benefit
an
from it.
alcoholic or not.
Yeah.
And that's the point: is you don't need to go to AA, you don't need to go to NA, you don't need to go to CA. You just need to have some support. You need to talk, whether it's to a therapist, whether
Yeah.
it's to a peer
Yes.
counselor,
Yes.
whether it's to people
Yes.
online like us that are completely random. Our DMs are open. Message us. We'll talk. I had a woman. I not that I was going to quit, but I get so caught up in numbers because I'm a drug addict, and I get so caught up in my numbers sometimes. And I'm looking at the numbers and I'm so distraught the other day, and I'm talking. I'm like, just like grumbling under my breath the entire time about it. And then I get a message at like midnight from this girl that's away out in England, and that's saying how much she loves my show and appreciates it. And she's 2 days sober and going to
See,
binge watch and try to stay sober. Like that right there is going to keep me going another 6-12 months.
that's why. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
So if
I
she's
love
listening
it.
now, I hope you're still sober, and doing well out there
Me
across
too.
the pond. So, but I know you got to
Me
get
too.
across
Me
the
too.
border
Call me.
soon.
Yeah.
I know you got to get across the
Yes.
border.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. This was so much fun. Last minute. I
What is your
love it.
show?
Instead
What
of
is the name of your
planning.
show?
The name of my show is Lore's World of Sobriety. Well, I think it's just Lore's World on YouTube, but I'll send you the link. And
I'll put all the links in the description. So whether you're
yeah, that would be
listening or whether you're
great.
watching, just go to the description. You'll be able to go to her Instagram, go to her YouTube, and all that. So have a
Yeah.
nice trip.
And I gotta
Have a
have
safe
you
trip
on
up there.
too.
Oh yeah, you know me. This is what I do full time. I'm ready. Let
All
me know when
right.
you're back from
I
Canada.
will,
Sit down and talk.
I will be in touch with you. This was really great. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this with you. And always remember, it's progress, not perfection. And just don't drink and don't do drugs. That's all we cannot do. We can do anything else we want to.
Damn straight. Thanks,
All
Lori.
right.
All right. See
Thank
ya.
you so much. Have a
All right.
great day.
You too. Bye bye.